What up, what up, what up? It's your boy. I'm your host, Draper J, aka Brother Baldhead, aka the Mustache Menace, aka Mr. Brown Sipper. And I'm back like Stephen A. Hairline. Here to hit you with another episode of Monday Night Mafia on All About the Bills. And I'm joined here with two special guests. My guy, first out of the tunnel, Ryan Thomas. What's going on, my brother? What's up with you?
What's up,
Draper?
Right? It's great to be on. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Appreciate it. Now, I'm gonna bring my brother in, Akeem Richins, Builtinbuffalo Zone. What's going on?
My brother Japer J, what's going on? Akeem Richins, Builtinbuffalo, all about the Bills. I got Ryan Thomas on. This is going to be an exciting show. What's going on, fellas?
Man, can't call it. But let's trying to get these. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's jump straight into what just broke today. We were all just talking about it behind the scenes. Highmark Stadium. Are you a fan of this name or not? I'm gonna kick it to you, A Rich, and then we'll go to Ryan, then come back around to myself. All right, so what do you think about the name? Are you a fan of it or not, A Rich?
Honestly, it's one of the worst names I've ever seen. Highmark Stadium. I'm trying to like it. I'm trying to like it because it's Buffalo Bills, my favorite team, but I can't feel it. It's not grasping me. But at the same time, when we was the Ralph, we wasn't winning too much games, right? When we were a one Bills drive, he wasn't winning too much games, right? So Highmark Stadium will sound a lot better while we at the parade. So if we're winning ball games, I think the name, it doesn't matter what it's called. As long as we're successful as a football team, as long as we're successful as an organization, I don't think the name would matter. The name would not care as much the more the Buffalo Bills win. And that's just how I feel about that.
My guy Ryan, what you think about the name?
I'm not a fan of the name either. I look at the Buffalo Bills Sundays and I say Ralph Wilson Stadium, Rich Stadium, New Era Field. The names were imposing. Football's a physical game. It's a tough game for mentally tough people. And I just don't know if that stadium really strikes fear into the hearts of our opponents. But I guess that's the 53-man roster's job to do that. It all depends on how we play each and every week. And to A. Rich's point, I don't think we'll care about what the name of the stadium is when we're winning the AFC East again and we're back in the AFC title game.
I like it. But as far I like the takes, but as far as like Highmark, it sounds like to me like a pack of hot dogs or something. Highmark, like go get a pack of Highmarks or something like that. It sounds like It sounds like something like that. You good, A Rich?
Yeah, I'm good.
yeah, but it sounds like a pack of hot dogs or something. Like it's just the Highmark. Let's go play the Bills at the Highmark. But like you said, I guess when you win a championship, the name of the stadium really isn't gonna matter. But that's the first thing that was like hot off the presses. Let me jump into some of these comments and see if you got a few comments coming in. Y'all, my guy, Iron Mike, King Me Sports. What's going on with you? Appreciate you for checking in. We got to hit the mark. Yeah, I guess that's what it's gonna be called. We can't hit the Ralph anymore. My guy Jerry Reed, he's throwing a shout out there to you, Ryan. You're everywhere. Hey, it's a hard-working man. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You got to surround yourself by the best. So that's why I reached out to him, and I know how to put Akeem on. What you about to say, Ryan?
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
Most definitely. Not a fan of the name, but it is what it is.
I appreciate it.
Like you said, you're right. Yeah. Jerry Reed, appreciate you checking in. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you too, Derek. I mean, not a fan of it, but I mean, like you said, it is what it is as far as the name is. I mean, we just got to roll with it. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we just go out there and win championships. It's not gonna matter. All right, now jumping into the next topic. We're gonna get into Isaiah McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna give you my reaction on when we first signed Isaiah McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna kick around to you, Ryan. Then I'm gonna go down to A. Rich.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I always have liked Isaiah McKenzie. My only knock on Isaiah McKenzie, I was kind of like wanting to like move on from between him and Andre Roberts. It was like it was two positions holding up. One that you could consolidate and possibly like get another player to come in, maybe like a Cordell Patterson that we've talked about in the chat rooms and stuff like that. That we probably can consolidate, still do the gadget stuff, and still return kicks. But when they resigned them, I understood why they came back, why we brought them back. Honestly, I mean, because Josh is to me his MVP type season overlooked a lot of the things that was growing on the low. Like Isaiah McKenzie, like back in the drought years, would probably be like a real big thing. Everybody would love to bring it back, but his role increased a little bit more as far as like in this offense. I mean, you got to think about it. He brought in 5 receiving touchdowns, threw a touchdown to Josh, and he had a return kick as well. So his role increased just a little bit. Now I'm kind of in this mindset. I would like for him to at least win the return game, because if not, then we're back to square one. We got a return guy that maybe might beat him out. Then we got the gadget guy, and we got still holding up 2 positions. And I think that if we were to consolidate, if I could say it right, we could consolidate those positions, then we can get somebody like Isaiah Hodges on the field, maybe Duke Wade, somebody like that. Now, Ryan, what are your thoughts as far as like when we signed Isaiah McKenzie?
I got to tell you guys, I was very excited to hear the news that they brought back Isaiah McKenzie, especially at the cap number that they were able to bring him back with. I think it shows that Brandon Beane is that wizard, man. He's that contract guy that can make the dollars make sense. And I think that bringing back a guy like McKenzie is awesome because he wants to be here. He's another guy that buys into the culture change, buys into the process, and that wants to contribute within his skill set any which way he can. So to have him back on this team for another season, I think with Andre Roberts out of the building, it's actually going to bring more opportunity, obviously, for Isaiah McKenzie in the return game and even more in the wide receiver game. I think McKenzie will fill kind of that role that was lost with the departure of John Brown, where people are thinking that Emmanuel Sanders will come in and fill that role. Yeah, probably production-wise, but in terms of the skill sets of the players, Isaiah McKenzie has a pretty comparable skill set to John Brown, and he filled in for him nicely when Brown was out last year. So I'm really happy that he's back.
Yeah, most definitely. I like it. Hey, Rich, what you got? Isaiah McKenzie reaction.
I love it, man. I love it. Isaiah McKenzie coming back to the Buffalo Bills, coming back in the fold. I think he's still developing and growing as a receiver. I think he's developing and growing as a receiver. I still think he has potential to have an uptick in his snap usage. I believe he was in about 22% of his snaps last season. I believe it's possible that he can get a larger role in the Buffalo Bills offense, as well as become the starting punt returner for our Buffalo Bills. The question is Isaiah McKenzie ready to be a full-time starter? Is he ready to take another leap in progression? Is he ready to take a larger role for the Buffalo Bills? Because before Isaiah McKenzie came to Buffalo, 5th round pick out the Denver Broncos, he was released. Why was he released? He was released because he had trouble holding on to the football. Now, he doesn't look like he have them type of issues with the Buffalo Bills, but does he have those type of issues because he doesn't get that snap usage that he was getting in Denver, or did he really develop and really mask in terms of holding the football? Can he actually hold on to the football? And that's the biggest thing about Isaiah McKenzie. But I really like the acquisition.
Most definitely. I like it. take a pause for a cause. If you're checking me out over on Facebook, hit that like button, hit that share button. Tell a friend that hashtag AATB is in. Let's make this thing trend. If you check us out, checking me out over on YouTube, the YouTube channel. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you stay up to date on all things all about the Bills. Now, let me move over. Now I'm gonna ask you guys this question: should we still bring in competition, draft or free agency, to compete with Isaiah McKenzie, or you think we're straight at that position? I'm gonna throw it to you first, Rich.
All competition is good at competition. You know, we don't want to assume or hand over any jobs to anybody. We was 13-3 last year, 15-4 overall. We are a Super Bowl contending team. And when you have a Super Bowl contending team, you have to bring in as much competition as possible. And as much as I love Isaiah McKenzie, he has to understand and know that this is a business. And we want you to continue to develop and continue to get better. And how do we do that? We bring in more competition. So I think all competition is good. Good competition is going to bring the best out of all players.
Ryan, what do you think? Do you think we should bring in competition, draft, free agency, or are we straight? What do you think?
I think much to A. Rich's point, competition breeds success. I actually think that there's some competition for Isaiah McKenzie already on the roster in the name of Christian Wade. You take a look at the rugby type skill set, the rugby scrums. I've played rugby, trying to find the little cracks in a sea of big bodies. Essentially, that you can kind of take some parallels to kick returning in that. So I'm curious to see what the Bills have planned for Christian Wade. I'm sure we'll get to him as we talk about, the Bills roster here, but I think that Wade brings competition. I think that there are potentially some corners that could bring competition. I remember a guy by the name of Cam Lewis returning some punts for UB a time or two in camp. So there are guys on this team as well. And I know that Brandon Beane is one of those general managers that loves to bring in competition for the team. And I expect that to be seen at any position on this roster.
Yeah, and to add to you guys' point, I mean, it's like they say, iron sharpens iron. I mean, you can't get relaxed. I mean, once you feel like your place is set, then you get complacent. Then your production from the year before falls off. Then I wouldn't be opposed to us drafting maybe some competition. And these are two guys I'm gonna throw out there and see what you guys think about these two. I wouldn't be as far as like bringing in a vet. I'd give it to Isaiah as far as like it's his job to lose. We're bringing one of these rookies. Push comes to shove, the rookie is better. Then you got the rookie, then you got Isaiah to fall back on. Or if not, Isaiah beats him out, and you still have a steady hand at what you like to do as far as gadgetry, and hopefully he does win that kick return. Now, what do you guys think about these two out here? Kenneth Gainwell out of University of Memphis and Demetric Felton, if I can say it right. I'm going to throw to you first, Ryan, then I'm going to go around to A. Rich, and I'm in with myself what I think about these two.
I like both of these players, and both of them, if they're slotted in as, kick returners or punt returners, they could obviously contribute. But I don't know if Buffalo is looking at that as much of a draft fill as some other positions on the roster. Frankly, I would love it, in those early rounds, if Buffalo goes after a corner, maybe they go after some depth on the offensive and defensive line to kind of control the line of scrimmage a little bit more than they did last year. That would be a new dimension of this team that we didn't really see in terms of the run game, in terms of a full-on pass rush, adding to kind of what they've added in the draft the last couple of years with Epinesa and Ed Oliver. Adding to that even more with more young talent would be nice. But I do like both of those guys. I do think they offer immediate impact potential, and maybe those guys would be two players that Brandon Beane would target for our special teams unit, which it's a battle of field position out there each and every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, if we get some flex games again. So I wouldn't be shocked to see those guys line up for the Bills.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully we get those flex games. Hey, Rich, what do you think about these two, Kenneth Gainwell and Demetric Felton, about possibly maybe being the option if they are there at the right place?
So I like both prospects. So Kenneth Gainwell is the reason why I wouldn't draft Travis Etienne early. You know, if we was thinking about going that direction, because I think Kenneth Gainwell is just as explosive and can do everything Travis Etienne can do. That's just my opinion about it. But as far as special teams, I like Demetric Felton. He's a Swiss Army knife. He could return. He could play in the backfield. He could play in the slot. He can do a multitude of things that could be useful in the Buffalo Bills offense. And I can see him kind of hanging around in the 5th round where the Buffalo Bills have 2 selections. So I think Demetric Felton is a possibility for the Buffalo Bills. And I like his play and I like his fit for the Buffalo Bills offense.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I'm more leaning towards like Kenneth Gainwell because I think I'm having a feeling that he may be 4th round is Demetric Felton. I think he's gonna probably be he's not gonna last out of the 2nd round, but I could be wrong. He could flip flop. Either one of these 2 guys, I'll be very comfortable with. They do a lot of things well. They can split out wide, play the slot, or they can return kicks. They can be in the backfield. Just something, if we can, just like you said, competition, iron sharpens iron. Just kind of keep Isaiah on his toes. Now, like you said, a little dirty. You're not safe. Nobody's position is safe because once you get relaxed and complacent, you feel like that. You're the man. You don't have to do anything else. But let's get into some of these comments. My guy, this is one of my Bills Mafia fan mates down here. We got a fan club that we all go watch the game at. My guy, Chris King Buff Love. What's going on with? Appreciate you checking in. Knowing Beane there will be comp, but I feel about a little dirty. Talking about Patterson. Yeah, like I said, but like with Patterson. But I think. Like, I'm with you now, Rich. I was on the Patterson train early. I wanted him, but now we brought in. That's why I was kind of thinking about consolidating that position. You got your gadget guy and your return guy. Now we brought him back. I kind of, like I said, I want him to actually win that position. So, because I don't want to go back to square one. Go ahead, Rich.
And that's the goal. You want Isaiah McKenzie to win this position. We hope that he progressed to the point that he wins this position. Isaiah McKenzie was on the team before Andre Roberts, and we got Andre Roberts, right? There's a reason for that. At times we've seen Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde go back there and catch punt returns, right? And Isaiah McKenzie was on the team. There's a reason for that. Isaiah McKenzie obviously wasn't ready at that time to take over those duties. Is he ready now? We hope so. Yeah. We hope so.
Yeah.
From a contract standpoint, if I can.
My guy Ryan, you got anything to add on it? Go ahead.
Yeah, from a contract
standpoint
too, Cole Beasley's not locked up long term, and there's room to add to this wide receiver room. As great as this wide receiver room is currently, Emmanuel Sanders is 33, 34 years old. So knowing and seeing how Brandon Beane has drafted and put this team together, he's not going to leave any stone unturned. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a wide receiver, maybe even 2 wide receivers drafted out of this draft. Wouldn't shock me at all.
Now you said it wouldn't shock you at all. Would it shock you if they're selected high? Would you be shocked if a wide receiver selected high?
If they took one in the 2nd or 3rd round, I wouldn't be shocked. No, I think there's enough wide receivers in this draft that could be immediate impact guys, and it goes with the whole competition breeds success analogy too. We didn't see much of Isaiah Hodgins last year. That's the guy that maybe we'll see something out of him this year. Maybe they bring in competition for him, and the cream rises to the top, and we'll find out which one is better in those later, 5th, 6th, 7th wide receiver, position come training camp time. That's where the NFL stars are seen.
Nice.
NFL players are seen.
Most definitely, I like it. Yeah, most definitely, I like the takes. We'll take a quick pause for the calls. If you're checking us out, me, my guy, Rich, Ryan Thomas. You check me out with the big dogs over here on Facebook. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that hit that share button. Tell a friend the hashtag the AATB is in. Let's make this thing trend. If you're checking us out over on Facebook, I appreciate you checking in over there as well. If you're checking in over there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and drop kick. If you can, drop kick that notification bell so you stay up to date on all the. You like that, Avery?
I like that.
Stay up to date on all. Yeah. Stay up to date on all about the Bills content. Now let's move into the next subject. Efe Obada reaction. I'm gonna give this to you first, Ryan. I'm gonna let you get. I'm gonna go down to Avery and come back around to myself. So, what was your first reaction when we signed Efe Obada?
I love the whole analogy of bringing in another player from the international program, whatever word you want to call it, international program, as far as guys that played overseas, you know, and playing in England. And I think that those guys definitely deserve a platform. I think that's something that the NFL has tapped into, not just by having the Jacksonville Jaguars and Buffalo Bills play a game in London, but actually plucking players from the England and the overseas countries over there, and getting a guy like that. He's going to work really hard. Is he a step behind? Of course, it's an uphill battle. These guys are the 1% of the 1% as far as what they can bring to the table. But I'm in love with the story. I love the story. I feel like it's a feel good story, and it's nice to have a feel good story like that with a player that he had 5.5 sacks last year. That's a pretty good stat line. He's somebody that might have more potential than even Christian Wade, who was a great rugby player over in England. So we'll see what happens. But I love the idea of bringing in a player like this for the defense, and I'm excited to see him in training camp. I'll be watching closely for sure.
So when I
like it. Hey, Rich, what you got?
So when I see guys like Efe Obada, and then I see how unsuccessful leagues like the XFL is, right? I'm like, why doesn't the NFL have some type of minor league because they have so much different things that they attempt, like XFL, who Doug Whaley was the president of, and that was unsuccessful. And they have these leagues that are unsuccessful, and then we have these players, and then we have these players like Efe Obada. We have these players like Christian Wade. Why don't the NFL do like the NBA did and incorporate some type of minor league, right? 10 years ago, the NBA
incorporated like the G League or something like that.
Incorporated the G League. It's time for the NFL to do the same. But Efe Obada, in my opinion, I think this is a sneaky good signing. We're talking about a guy that's 6'6", 265, 270 pounds, who runs a 4.6.
Yep.
This is a big man that can run sideline to sideline, and not only is he sideline to sideline, he gives you that mold of a Quentin Jefferson. A lot of people wondered why we cut Quentin Jefferson. He could play multiple spots. Now Efe Obada can now fill that spot, right? He can slide inside in certain pass rush packages, and he could play his normal defensive end spot. So from a versatility standpoint, and from a physical freak, a physical specimen, an athletic standpoint, I think is a good signing for the Buffalo Bills.
All right, now I'm gonna give y'all my initial reaction. When they said we signed Efe Obada, I was like, who? Efe Obada. Then I seen hey, I'm being honest. I'm just being real. You know,
I think all of us. Yep.
Hey, but yeah. So then I seen the Carolina connection. Okay, that made somewhat of sense. But then I started looking to the guy's background. Then I started looking at the stature, like you said, 6'6", 265, runs 4.6 The guy was homeless. He jumped up from Dallas practice squad. Yeah, he had a cup of coffee in Kansas City for a second before being signed, I think, on the press squad to Atlanta. Then he was up and down till he finally landed in Carolina. That lets me know a guy like that, he's hungry, he has something to prove, and he's just ready. You know what I'm saying? For any situation. And then most definitely you got a guy that the 5.5 sacks, a lot of people may not be just mind blown as far as stats wise or whatever. But it makes you think that he's a selfless player who fits the mold with type of guys that Beane targets. 5.5 sacks. He's not looking to be the main guy. Just give me my opportunities. As long as you put me on the field, give me my opportunities, I'll show you I can play. So I think with Efe, I'm going to step on out there and say it like as far as, but Efe, I think he might be that sneaky. I'm going to jump on that train now. I think he might end up actually being that sneaky good pickup in the offseason. I think he might. I'm going to say maybe 8.5 sacks. And that's like major as far as like for us. I mean, as far as like how we like to rotate players. And
that would be major. Yeah,
that would be major.
I would like that.
Yep. And then he can play. And I checked out some of his highlights to see. Yeah. And I checked out some of his highlights to see how he looked on film. So he can play pretty much all over the line. He can play 1 technique, 3 technique, down to D tackle. He plays on the edge. But what I noticed from him, he gets more pressure off the edge. For my PFF fans out there who like to kind of tout those pressures like from PFF. But you know what I'm saying? He gets more pressure off the edge. He does his damage off the edge. So I think he might kind of be. He might be on. I think he might actually be on the come up. What do y'all guys think? What do y'all predict as far as like? Do you think he kind of be a camp body or whatever? Do you think he could be that guy? I'm throwing to you first, Rich.
I think he could be a rotational piece for the Buffalo Bills defense. I think Brandon Beane signed him with the intention of him being a rotational piece in the Buffalo Bills defense. I know he's kind of a new player, but at the same time, he had 5.5 sacks. That would have led our football team, right? So he has some skill. He definitely has some skill. So I believe he's going to make this roster, and he's going to be a rotational piece on the defensive line.
Yeah, and I think.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think. As I said, it is an uphill battle in the sense that he is a newer player, as we said, and there are established NFL players like Jerry Hughes on this team. He's not going to be taking Jerry Hughes' job. Jerry's got his role. AJ Epinesa, he didn't really do a whole lot in his rookie year. I know he was a rookie, but he didn't really do a whole lot. I like this signing from that standpoint that you have a guy like Efe Obada, who nobody's really heard of, but you have other guys that were highly touted prospects. Yeah. Hopefully the signing of Efe Obada motivates some of these guys that didn't really do a whole lot last year and kind of creates this culture of wanting to, put your best foot forward, that you got some competition from places that you would least expect. Show us more. And I'm talking about Epinesa, Ed Oliver, a top, first round pick that, haven't really lived up to the hype just yet. I'm not saying Efe Obada is going to take one of their jobs, but bringing in new players does force the players on our team to try a little bit harder.
So quick question for both of you gentlemen. As we're talking about Efe Obada, is Daryl Johnson in trouble at all? Or how do you view him? Because he's the first person I thought of with the Efe Obada signing. What's your thoughts on Daryl Johnson? Whoever.
I'll take it one first, Ryan. I'll take it one first.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I go on this one first. I think with the FA and Daryl Johnson, that was like kind of maybe being kind of bringing competition in, just like how I alluded to with Ryan. What Ryan said, like you're bringing in a guy that's gonna push guys like Daryl Johnson, AJ Epinesa. Then possibly he can play all over the defensive line. He can push even Ed Oliver. Your job is not safe. It's somebody that can play, is very versatile. You know how, like with McDermott and Frazier, they love the guys that are very, very versatile in this defense. So nobody's safe. I think, like I said, I think Daryl Johnson may need to be looking over the shoulder, because I think what I seen from FA just last season, I looked at some of his highlights last year. He can be a freak of an athlete. You know what I'm saying? I think he can be somebody who can possibly push somebody out the way. And if he can play special teams, then Daryl Johnson really might need to look at. What do you think, Ryan?
I agree. I think anyone on that defensive line that was a part of our team last year, that's one of the areas last year that was severely lacking. For as many hurries as we had to the opposing quarterback, we weren't really able to bring many of them down. And that was frustrating. And I think the Bills need to go back to that type of style with that front four pressure that they had with Mario Williams, Kyle Williams, Marcel Darius, and Jerry Hughes, who is still on this roster contributing. So I think that, this defensive line, that's a bread and butter type thing with Sean McDermott's defense as well, with the success that he had in Carolina and Philly. And that would help our secondary out. Having more pressure on the defensive line forces the quarterback to make throws sooner than he wants to. And, maybe we get more Trey White picks, more Matt Milano picks. Maybe Tremaine Edmonds finally gets a pick. So we'll see. But I'm excited.
Yeah. Most definitely. I like it. If you let me take a pause for the calls. If you're checking us out, me and my guy, Ryan Thomas from thomastake himself. You got A. Rich, one of the co-founders of Builtinbuffalo. You're checking us out over on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like, hit that like button, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hashtag AATB is in. Let's make this thing trend. Also, if you're checking us out over on Facebook, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and what was the thing that Dave did the other night? Karate chop. Yeah, he had the karate chop sound. Karate chop that notification bell so you stay up to date on all about the Bills content. Now, let me move over to our next one. Our next subject. Oh, let me pose this one to you guys. After everything that Efe has been through, do you think that he could be the next Williams Christian Wade type as far as like on our roster? I'll go with you first, Rich. Now I go to my guy.
I mean, he came in. He was with the Carolina Panthers last year. Efe Obada had 5.5 sacks. I would argue that he already eclipsed Duke Williams and Christian Wade. I think he is ahead of that curve, and I think he's more likely to stay in the NFL out the three right now between Obada, Duke Williams, and Christian Wade. Who would have a longer career today? Efe Obada.
I completely agree with A. Rich on that one.
Right.
And especially, I completely agree. I think that where we need improvement is on the defensive side of the ball. Whereas Duke Williams, he's got an uphill battle. I talked about Isaiah Hodgins, talked about the possibility that they might get a receiver, maybe two in this draft, because we got, Emmanuel Sanders on a 1-year deal. Cole Beasley's getting up there too. Christian Wade, I couldn't really tell you what position he would line up at right now on this team, with the fact that we brought in Matt Breida. We have Singletary. We have Zach Moss. There's rumblings, of course, that we're going to take a running back in the first round. I don't know about that. We'll see come draft time. But I think that, Obada has an opening, and it's a matter of him actually showing up in training camp in the preseason and making this team.
I like it. I'm you know what I like. I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all on that. I think Efe has more of a chance to kind of being on the team, being on the active roster versus being a guy that we're always like, why not play that guy? Why we ain't playing Christian Wade? Of course, Christian Wade had the international leave thing where he couldn't play for a year or two. But of course, Duke Williams, everybody was always asking about Duke, when Duke gonna play. But I think Efe, with his stature and the way he's built, fast as he is, I think he has a chance to at least be on the active roster. Before we leave out on the FA thing, I'm gonna ask y'all this. You remember when, like, how back in the days when we was going through our draft, everybody's coming from the Panthers over to the Bills. Do you think, are we poaching the Panthers roster, or is it kind of like it's just like that Carolina connection? Still great ties with what Beane left from over there. I'm gonna throw it to you first, Ryan.
I think poaching a roster is not necessarily a bad thing, because in the eyes of Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, they're going after players that they know. They're going after players that they can trust, and most importantly, not just on the field but off the field. How do those guys actually mesh into the locker room? How do those guys actually buy into trusting the process? They know what these guys bring personality-wise to the team as well. And every single case of who they've brought in, and it is a laundry list of players. I couldn't even name them all as far as the players that we've brought from Carolina to here. But they've all been high character guys. They've all been guys that have played their role and they knew their role, and they didn't step on anybody's toes. And I think that is big picture as to why this team is where it is today. Going from being a 9-7 team a few years back, breaking that playoff drought, being an AFC championship performing team, playing in an AFC title game. That's a huge step and a huge leap. And I think poaching the Panthers roster isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I think, Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, I trust them. I know I can speak for you guys on that and say that we trust them as well with the success that they brought to this team. And I like what they've been.
Most definitely. And Beane we trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, hey, Rich, what do you think? Are we posting the Panthers roster?
I mean, when you look at it, and we take Brandon Beane that comes from Carolina, groomed and raised in Carolina, professionally, and Sean McDermott, and then you get guys like AJ Klein, you get guys like Mario Addison, you get guys like Vernon Butler, you get guys like Josh Norman, you get these guys, and you're like, hold on, this is exactly what it looks like. It looks like a Buffalo Bills, Carolina Panther connection. But Efe Obada, I think, is different. I think that Efe Obada was an attractive piece to the Buffalo Bills. We lack size, physicality, and athleticism. And Efe Obada fits that bill. He has that size, he has that speed, he has that athleticism. And we all know that Brandon Beane loves to find diamond in the rough type players, right? He loves to find cost-effective players that outplay their contract. And Efe Obada is one of those guys that fit that bill. So I know he came from Carolina, but I think this is more of his gifts as an athlete as opposed to the team he came from.
Yeah, and I think like I say, I think I agree with you guys as far as poaching isn't a bad thing. Let's just think back, when I alluded to earlier, the Patriots poached us for years. We was going through the drought. They got Gillisley, Bump and Run Gilmore. It's like they just poached us. They're like everybody went over there when they won the Super Bowl. It's but only thing that Bill Belichick had to stand on is the Patriot way. Come over here and win with Brady. But not only does Beane have come over here and be the best version of yourself, he also has some of those relationships with some of those players that's coming over. Still has a relationship probably with some of those scout guys over there, some of those scouts over there. So he has an inside look as far as what we may be bringing over or what this guy may need to work on. Now, let me answer this. I'm looking at this comment. My guy Chris Fowler said, was Efe a rotational player on his former team? Most definitely. And I'm glad he brought it up. I think that coming into this is what we do. That he will fit into this role. A guy to just jump in, wherever you put me, I can play up and down all the defensive line. Now, let me move over to the next one. All right, Matt Breida. Matt Breida reaction. So I'm throwing it down to you, Rich, and I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna end with myself. All right, what was your first initial reaction when we signed Matt Breida?
So my first initial reaction was, can we finally eliminate the running back talk at 30? That was my initial reaction with Matt Breida. But as I continued to read, it may be smokescreen, it may be speculation, but apparently the Buffalo Bills are still they still may go that direction if certain players are on the board. Particularly, I've been reading a lot about Najee Harris, but I like Matt Breida. I like the combination with him and Devin Singletary. I think he brings and adds a different dimension to the Buffalo Bills offense. I believe if Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott implement 3 running backs on game day, I think they can make impact. I think they can make immediate impacts. I like our 3 running backs. My issue is the offensive line. Can we improve our offensive line? With good offensive line play, with better offensive line play, we will get production from our running backs. And the way we throw the ball, the way we like to throw the ball around the yard, we just need our running backs to be effective when given the opportunity. So that's why, in my opinion, I love the Matt Breida signing. And that's also a reason why I wouldn't draft a running back first round, because we pass the ball 70% of the time anyway, right? So we just need to be effective with our runs. And I think Matt Breida, Devin Singletary, and Zach Moss can do that.
All right, Ryan, I'm throwing it over to you.
I got to tell you guys, I love the signing of Matt Breida. I've always liked Matt Breida. His pit stops, obviously, with the Niners and the Dolphins. Feel like he's always been a underutilized player, given his skill set. He's a fast running back.
Yeah,
he
most
can catch
definitely.
passes out of the backfield. He's quick in between the tackles. He's got a low center of gravity. He's tough to bring down. And as far as the running backs that we have, I'm completely okay with the running backs that we have with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. I feel like the disrespect of Bill's Twitter towards Zach Moss and Devin Singletary is just ridiculous, to the point where we don't run the ball. So to say that we need to take a running back in the first round, how are we going to change we're going to change our offense that drastically from the most successful passing offense in the NFL, more successful than Kansas City. We scored more points than Kansas City throughout the regular season. We're going to change that for a first round running back when we've invested third round picks in running backs 2 years in a row with Singletary and Moss. So I think Matt Breida is a low risk, high reward signing that adds that new dimension in terms of a speed scat back. And he's somebody that, really went out and sought out what is the process and talked to guys, as I talked about, Draper and I talked about it before the show, talking to Tyler Bass and Emmanuel Sanders. What is it like playing there? What made Emmanuel Sanders, a vet, a pro's pro, want to come here? And Matt Breida is a guy that he's a veteran in this league. He's been in a lot of different locker rooms. He's experienced the highs and the lows. And he sought out Buffalo and said, I want to play there. I think that it's one of the best signings that they've had this offseason, to be quite honest with you. And I think potentially it could be really, really good. I hope it works out in the ways that I think it can.
Yep, most definitely.
Yeah, and just to get into this comment, my guy Anthony Caswell. What's going on, Caswell? Is my guy right there. We need Breida, which helps with speed and receiving out of the backfield. Now, that helped me get into my first initial reaction. When we first signed Breida, that's the first thing I thought was speed. Now, we were missing that now. Like I said, I'm not ready to give up my mouse and motor at all. They bring two different dimensions. One is quick in space, and one is just straight bowl yo type running back. We need both of those. We need the hammer. We need the quickness. We need the shiftiness. But we need somebody when they get the ball and they get open field, they can take off and not end up getting caught from behind, which Motor was if I get out. If Motor would do, I mean, he would be that guy that would catch the ball or run the ball, make somebody miss, get about 10, 15 yards, and then maybe have a straightaway, get caught from behind. Now we have somebody like Breida that get out in this screen game. They can add the different dimension, because we didn't have that as far as like when we played the Chiefs. And that's what it's all about. Everybody, we all know what it's about going to play the Chiefs. Then it's like on game day, we have three different running backs. You got to pick your poison with either three. You can go with Mouse or Breida, Breida or Motor, or if you want to go Motor and Mouse, depending on who we're playing and what's their weakness as far as like with the run game, the screen game, or whatever. So I think we need to go with three running backs on game day, because I don't think Breida is gonna be no special teams ace. I don't think Motor's gonna be a special team ace or whatever, like a Tywan Jones. I don't know where he's gonna slide into all this, but I think when we roll those three there, that most likely will probably be what we need to roll with. And then, like you said, with a guy like Breida, he's a selfless player. Like I said, I talked about that earlier. He's one of those guys that can play. They had shared the backfield in San Fran. He shared the backfield in Miami. He doesn't worry about how many snaps he getting. As long as he can contribute and actually make the team win. Now, I'm gonna throw this out there. Now, I threw this question out there like a couple weeks ago. All right, now I have a checklist. The reason why our run game wasn't going right. Okay, it's the O-line. I checked it off. I'll scratch it off. Now we got the whole O-line come back. They said continuity is everything. It's between the running backs that they didn't trust and Dable. Now, with this one, with Breida, he's not a high-profile sign, but he's a low-key good signing. So I wouldn't say until like after the draft if we go out there and draft another running back. So to me, it's still on the table with the running backs or Dable. I'm gonna put it out there to this. We're gonna scratch out the O-line. Ryan, do you think it's the running backs that we have in place, pre or post Breida? Depending on what we do, or is it Dable not calling the plays and just relying on Josh?
I think it's the fact that a coach knows what he's got to work with. A good coach does, for the most part. And I think Brian Dable is a good coach in the sense that he did see that the Bills' offensive line is predominantly a pass-blocking offensive line. They're not built to run block. They have the two best linemen are tackles on that line. Mitch Morse is a great lineman as well, but I thought watching the film, Deion Dawkins and Darrell Williams were their two best offensive linemen. In terms of the run game, you need to have good guards. You need to have guys that can pull, that can create an alley, that can allow holes to develop on tosses, especially with a running back like Devin Singletary, who is not an in-between-the-tackles running back. But what they're trying to recreate, I think, bringing in Matt Breida, you have Matt Breida, Devin Singletary, and Zach Moss. To me, that oozes Rex Burkhead, James White, and Sony Michel. Take your pick at whichever ones play that role. But I think that's what Brian Dable's trying to recreate. I think that each year is a different year, obviously. Maybe we won't be as predominantly a passing offense stretching the field as we were last year. Maybe they will try to add a little bit of a West Coast dynamic to this offense with the sure route running of Emmanuel Sanders and with the solid hands that Matt Breida has. To change things up, play a little bit more small ball with who we have than long ball. And I think that this offensive line, like if I'm looking at the draft and how to improve this run game, we need to add some depth and on that offensive line and the defensive line, frankly, and control the line of scrimmage either way. Get guys that can pull. Get the whatever Richie Incognito-esque guard is out there in this draft. That's who I want on this team.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hey, Rich, I'm throwing to you. So, do you think we're gonna take the old line out of it? Old line, okay. We brought back continuity. What do you think it is? Is it Dable not calling the plays, or is it the running backs we have in place?
I think it's the running backs we have in place because of the plays Dable is calling. If that makes sense, I think at times Brian Dable run play calling can be a little predictable and a little bland. And when you combine predictable and bland with running backs that's not athletic, I think that can pose a problem. I think that Brian Dable can do a little bit better job drawing up and scheming run plays. That's one way I feel about it. And I just think that I know you said not to talk about offensive line, but it's hard not to talk about offensive line when we talking about the run game, right? Because if you have a solid offensive line, a fifth round pick can come in and do a solid job, So I gotta piggy bank off Ryan a little bit. We have to get another guard in there. I know we signed John Feliciano, but I don't know what Cody Ford has given us. And I really believe that at some point, second, third, or even first round, we have to go ahead and get an interior offensive lineman and upgrade that interior of our offensive line, because that, in my opinion, would help our running backs. We don't want to run the ball. Think about Isaiah McKenzie. Isaiah McKenzie is in 22% of his snaps, and he is effective in that 22% of his snaps. If he wasn't effective in his 22% of his snaps, he wouldn't be re-signed with the Bills. So we need someone that could be effective in their small usage, in their small reps, just like Isaiah McKenzie is effective in his usage, his limited usage that he gets. He makes the most out of a little, and we need that from our running backs this year.
Yeah. And getting this comment, my guy Chris Fowler from Montana. Finally, someone calls out Dable on his play calling. Thank you. I guess that was music to his ears, right?
I'm on that train.
But yeah, most definitely. But now, like I said, I'm with you guys as far as like, all right, okay. You claim it was okay. It's not the line. We got the whole offensive line back. Now, I think it's more or less it's on Dable. Now, I'm gonna roll my guy Chris Fowler on this one. I think it's more on Dable because the running backs we had are not terrible. Mouse and Motor, they're not terrible running backs. And then we just went and got Breida, which really he just adds a dimension that neither one of those two running backs have. We can do like I think someone even said once before that the Packers run with 3 running backs during the year. So, and then I think that would benefit Josh as a young quarterback still trying to develop. So I think it's more or less it's on Dable. I mean, I think he just got trigger happy with Josh playing out his mind MVP type season. And then, like what you said yourself, Ryan, I mean, I think this offensive line is probably more predicated to the pass block, the passing scheme. So I think he just like, you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna just roll with the passing because Josh is playing out his mind. Who can stop him? You know what I'm saying? Who can stop him? I don't think anybody else in the league can stop him. So, all right, we're going to take a pause for the calls. If you're checking us out, me, my guy, Ryan Thomas from thomastake, my guy, A. Rich, co-founder of builtinbuffalo, and myself, over at All About the Bills, Draper J. If you're checking us out on Facebook, hit that like button, hit that share button, tell a friend, the hashtag AATB is in. Let's make this thing trend now. All right, if you're checking us out over on Facebook, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell to be up to date on all my latest content. All right, now, let me go on to the next one. All right, now, Trey White reaction to his restructure. I'm going to go into this for myself first. Now, the first thing when I heard about as far as like with Trey, I was like, it's the culture. So what I mean by the culture, you got guys understanding what's at stake. You know what I'm saying? Who are just 4 quarters away. You know what I'm saying? Let's even look into like the guys that are selflessly giving money back to make sure that we can make sure we sign our draft at least or sign guys in free. You got Trey White, you got Mitch Morris, you got Mitch Moore, I would say Mario Addison. Excuse me. Then you got guys like and Vernon Butler. Guys that are coming back that are signing for a little bit. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Make sure, okay, I'll give y'all a little bit back, you know what I'm saying? So make sure we straight so we can build the team. Then you got guys like Levi Wallace and Isaiah McKenzie that are taking less. You know what I'm saying? They are, well, I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't believe Levi when he said he had more offers out there, but it's just me. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's just me now. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, you got guys like Levi, you got Isaiah saying that they had big offers on the table that are saying like, you know what, I'm gonna come back. So then you got guys. Let's even look at the signers we brought in. Emmanuel Sanders. That could have still came back and tried to re-sign with the Saints or another team that was in playoff contention. You got Breida. That was on the up-and-coming Miami Dolphins team. They could probably give us problems in the next year or so. Who knows? Maybe even next year. They could have stayed there and signed for less and probably seen what they could have built. Then you got guys coming over like Hollister. Of course, he had the connection with Josh. Then you got like Trubisky. I read somewhere today that you got Trubisky that turned down the Denver Broncos offer. Just come over there and learn from what we had going on over here, like the culture. I want to go in and reset. And instead of going over here and playing and competing for a starting job with Drew Lock, so he had a chance to go over there and compete with a guy like that. Then let me reset, come over here, learn from Brian Dable, see how he prepares his quarterbacks, because him and Josh had the same similar skill set. So that just let me know that it has to be it's culture. Now I'm gonna throw it to you. So what was your initial reaction, A. Rich, on Trey White's sign? I mean restructure. I'm sorry.
It's good for the team, you know. We lack cap flexibility, and any money we can get back is beneficial, right? We still, in my opinion, I've been saying it all off season. People have been like, hey, Rich, what you talking about? People have been like, hey, I understand. My opinion, the Buffalo Bills remain status quo. In my opinion, we re-signed everybody that we had last year. We are putting we have the same team as last year. We remain status quo, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to get some. We're going to have to get some more talent in here, in my opinion, to reach the Super Bowl, to get over that hump and reach the Super Bowl. So I like the fact that Trey White gave back some money to the Buffalo Bills organization. So you never know what may happen come after the draft. Who may get cut? Who may get released? We could have some money on hand to go out there and get a signing and upgrade our team. So that's a positive for Trey White. So I like what he did, because he didn't have to do it, right? To think about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill said, once I sign my contract, Tyreek Hill said, once I sign my contract, that's it, right? So Trey White, he was forthcoming, and we have to appreciate that coming from Buffalo Bills fans. You can hear me?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that I can't remember a time in Buffalo Bills history where a player of Trey White's stature, one of the elite of the elite, one of the best corners, maybe the best. I think you could say he's the best corner in the game right now. I don't think many people would disagree with me on that. The fact that he took a pay cut this late in the game, I think it's, at this point, it was completely unexpected, completely flew over my head as far as whether or not he would take the pay cut. I think I want to give a shout out to Trey White. Silent, golf clap, Stephon Diggs golf clap for Trey White, and the fact that he took the, pay cut that he did, because not many players of his stature at this state of his career would do that. And I think that was a really, noble thing for him to do, honorable thing for him to do. I can't say that Tyreek Hill is wrong for his stance either. I'm just glad that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I can't say that he's wrong. Yeah, not that you did, Rich, but it's. I'm glad you brought that up in terms of, like, I'm glad that Trey White's on my team. I'd rather take the guy that is the elite player that takes the pay cut than the guy that says, hey, you signed me for this and you're stuck with me at this price. It's really awesome to see that this team is headed in that type of direction. I think that's the story of the offseason with Matt Milano, taking the, contract that he did. I didn't anticipate that. John Feliciano took less money compared to market value, and Darrell Williams signed a long-term deal when many reports out there were saying he was only looking for a short-term deal. So the players are buying into the process, and that's why we had the season we had last year, and I think that's why we're going to have an even better season this upcoming year.
Nice.
Most definitely, I like it. Now, let me ask you, you guys, this question: how likely is it for more restructures in the upcoming days? You got guys like Hughes, Diggs. I saw somewhere that I thought, like, after the 21st or the 22nd, that Diggs was over, we couldn't restructure. But I'm hearing that we probably still can. Diggs, Beasley, Deion Douglas. I'm throwing to you first, Ryan. How likely do you think you see us, like, doing more restructures in these upcoming days, at least this next week or so?
It's tough to say how likely it is, given that, I don't think any of those guys should take restructures. Like, I don't even think Trey White should have restructured his contract. I'm thankful that he did, but I can't say, likely or unlikely. It's tough to say. I would love it if they did, but those guys in particular, the guys that you just mentioned, I feel like they earn their every penny, and they're deserving. I think all the guys are deserving of the money that they get. Some people say that football players make too much. I personally don't think they make enough for what they do, put their body on the line, put their brain on the line. I understand when these guys get $40 million. I love to see it, to be honest. I think it's good for the game. But I think that we will start to see more free agents come here in the coming years on lesser deals. More pros type players like Emmanuel Sanders are going to come here. I think that's the beginning of something that we'll start to see in the coming years, whether it's restructures, maybe, but I think we'll see more free agents come here that are quote unquote pros that have been through every which scenario in their career and they want to be a part of something special here in Buffalo.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Rich, what do you think?
I agree with Ryan. And as far as restructures, so the one guy that I can possibly see a restructure from is Deion Dawkins. It's possible that he can be restructured. I'm not sure about how much more restructuring I would do beyond that. Stephon Diggs is another name. I know that he had a tremendous season, and if we're looking at his contract, he might be underpaid with compared to his production, right? So he's another name we could throw out there.
He is. Yeah.
But Stephon Diggs and Deion Dawkins are two names that I would think about restructuring in terms of contracts. But beyond that, I wouldn't go far beyond that. So those two gentlemen.
You know what, guys? I gotta throw in this hot take. Okay, just bear with me here. You might
go ahead.
You might think this is brilliant. I don't know, but with the positive vibes and the good vibes that are surrounding this team, I'd be more than willing to say that Josh Allen would take a lesser deal than what he could possibly get. I think he could be a guy that could say to himself, all these guys are taking less money. They're buying into the process. Why should I be taking $45 million a year and hurting this team when I could take $35 million a year and win multiple Super Bowls because of it? That one decision could drastically impact the Bills' future from now and within the next 5 to 7 years. So don't be shocked, when it comes time for Josh Allen to get his contract, that he doesn't take the $50 million. He settles for less because he's the process guy and the leader of the team. Wouldn't be shocked at all.
So instead of five,
I'll take that one first, Flat.
Go ahead.
Let me take that one first. Now I throw it down to you, Rich. So I will rock with you on that, Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Because Josh seems like that type of selfless type of guy. He's gonna be like that new, dare I say it, like how Tom Brady was. He was like very vastly underpaid as far as a quarterback and steady winning Super Bowls when he was with the New England Patriots. You getting guys like Drew Brees was getting $20 million. You got guys like Andrew Luck at the time getting $20 million or so when they first started breaking out those $20 million contracts. And he was getting what 12, 15 at the most, you know what I'm saying, 2-3 years or whatever, just so they can make sure they sign people. So I think that might not even be a hot take. You know what, Ryan? I think that might be spot on. You know what I'm saying? What you think about it, Rich?
You know what? I like. You know what? I like it. I like it because my initial, when I think of a contract for Josh Allen, the first thing I think about is 5 years, $250 million, $50 million a year. Right? That's what I think. I think Josh Allen deserves that. 5 years, $250 million. I think that would be a deal that he can get. But now that Ryan Thomas has spoken and we think about the culture and we think about pros, it is definitely possible he can take a 5-year, $200 million deal, $40 million a season as opposed to 50. So I definitely think that it's possible. Josh Allen, I believe he's a culture guy and I believe he wants to win and I believe he likes a good group around him and he's willing to sacrifice a little bit of his paycheck to do so. And besides, I think there's other areas that Josh Allen can make it up if he wanted to. I think he's one of the more marketable guys that we have in this NFL. So if he wanted to make more money out besides his contract, I'm pretty sure he could.
And think about the draft too. Like when Buffalo actually picked him, I don't know where he would have went had Buffalo not picked him. Would he have gone in the top 10? Would he have gone in the top 20? I don't know. I mean, that's a what if story, but I feel like Josh Allen's a little bit indebted to Buffalo due to the fact that we were the team that finally said yes to him. Wyoming was the only team that said yes to him at that point, and he even self-admittedly, reluctantly went there because it was the only, college that really gave him a chance. Whereas the Buffalo Bills traded up to get Josh Allen in the top 10. So I think that, we could potentially see that.
I like it.
I like it. Now we've been going on for maybe an hour and 4 minutes. I mean, it's been seeming like it doesn't seem that long, does it? It's been seeming like fun. You know what I'm saying?
No, it feels like 15.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. See, like we just like backstage, just talking about how we're gonna do the rundown on the show.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm glad that you guys. Yeah, I'm glad you guys, man. Hey, just came to just kick it with me tonight. Talk Bills, and just talk about the face of the franchise, things of that nature. So now we were just talking about Josh. Before we get out of here, I'm asking you two guys, Josh Allen's stat prediction for this next up and coming season. I'm gonna go to you first, Ryan. I'm gonna go to you, A. Rich, and I'm gonna come back myself. All right, what do you think his stat prediction? Just kind of something fun, maybe.
The stat line of Josh Allen, boy, it will equal MVP. What he should have got this year, he's gonna get it this upcoming year. He should have got the MVP this past season. I think I have no bones about it, saying it, making that claim. But I think he's gonna reach over 45 passing touchdowns. I don't think we're gonna see Allen run as much as he has in previous years. I think he is going to evolve more as a passer, continuously, piggybacking off of last season, close to 5,000 yards, and maybe at the volume in which he's throwing, maybe 10, 12 picks. But it's going to be an MVP caliber season, and I think he's actually going to win the MVP in 2021.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Rich, what you got? What do you think? Josh Allen's season stat prediction.
So Josh Allen's stat prediction, I'm thinking about 69, 68, 69% completion percentage again. I'm thinking about 4,600 yards, and I'm thinking about 42 touchdowns, along with about 400 yards on the ground with another 6 touchdowns. So I'm thinking about 46 overall, 46, 48 overall touchdowns, possibly 12 picks. So I think he's going to have an MVP season, man. I think Josh Allen, just like Trey White, what they did Trey White, they didn't give Trey White Rookie of the Year when he deserved it. They didn't give Trey White his accolades until we started being successful, right? So last year, Josh Allen was his outcoming party, and I think this year he's going to take home some hardware.
Yeah, and what you just said, I mean, they keep robbing us. I mean, in 19, they robbed my guy Trey for Defensive Player of the Year, which he should have got. Then they robbed my guy Josh for MVP. So, we got to come up somewhere. But my season's stat predictions are going to be Josh is going to throw for 5,000 yards. He's going to throw for 45 touchdowns. Run 5 in himself. 5 some other kind of way. I just say rush. I'm not going to predict he's going to catch another touchdown. And maybe we're going to maybe 350 when we need him to run. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 350. So,
I like it.
Ryan Thomas, tell everybody where they can catch you at if they rocking with us right now. We'll get out of here.
Before I drop the social media stuff, I gotta say, Draper and A. Rich, it was a pleasure coming on with you guys. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. You guys can follow me.
I appreciate you.
Of course. You can follow me on Twitter at Ryan Thomas Take, Facebook, Instagram. I'm out there, the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. You can find it anywhere you find your podcasts. Greatly appreciate the support from the Bills Mafia, the best fan base in sports. No doubt about it.
Most definitely. All right. Hey, Rich, tell them where they can find you at.
You could find me at builtinbuffalo, man. King Rich _987 is my handle on all social media platforms. Builtinbuffalo. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter. We just try to keep up to date with all Buffalo Bills content. We try to stay consistent. We try to give knowledgeable information so our fans and us Buffalo Bills fans can absorb. And yeah, man, you can find me King Rich 987. Draper, I really appreciate you having me on your show tonight. It was a pleasure, and we definitely got to do this more.
Hey, most definitely. Hey, man, you like fam. You know what I'm saying? You always got to play some all about the Bills over here at Monday Night Mafia, most definitely. And like I said, hey, I appreciate Ryan, you know what I'm saying, coming on. But once you actually said yes, you're going to jump on, I was like, damn, I got to be drinking. But you said you're going to come on, you did the thing, man. So, hey, right, before I get out here, I'm going to tell you where you're going to catch me at. If you rock what I'm doing over here, all about the Bills, you can go over to AATB.buzzsprout.com. If you want to, you can listen to the podcast straight off the interface. And also, it has a drop-down box for all the available music platforms that has podcasts you can listen to on there. And also has like access to all my YouTube channels and all my social media. So, before we get out of here, we out of here like last year. Peace. Go Bills.